All
We
this
would like to
discussion
thank
about
the
the
following
viewership dropping,
sponsors
the
for making
scores
this
are too high,
broadcast.
there's too much scoring. But look at these scores yesterday. The Nuggets, 100. The Suns, 110. 110 to 100, that's a 2012 NBA game score. That's not a 2024 score. That's a game where defense is being played. Now, I know in like 2008, 2007, a little before then, 100 to 110 was a high-scoring game. But in today, that's like equivalent to 80 points in 2020, 2010, 2011. Look at the Lakers-Warriors, 115 to 113. Timberwolves, 105. Mavericks, 99. 76ers, 118. Celtics, 114. Spurs, 114. Knicks, 117. All close games. The biggest deficit out of all the Christmas games yesterday was 10 points. It was the Suns beating the Nuggets by 10 points. 10 points was the biggest margin on a day where there was 5 NBA games. I give a kudos to the NBA. They shut me up. They proved me wrong. You saw true competition. You saw defense. You saw will to win. And this comes on a day where I don't know if it's a coincidence, but I think the NBA was tested a little bit. It was tried. The NFL decides, you know what? Let's just go ahead and have 2 Christmas game days. Let's have 2 games on Christmas. I think I set that way off. Let's have 2 games on Christmas, says the NFL. Who cares about the NBA? We can make it happen. I don't know how good of a decision that was. Now, the matchups were all right. The matchups were decent, right, for the NFL. But once again, we got the same taste in our mouth that we had with the college football playoff. We had the same taste in our mouth that the NBA has given us earlier this season. Just blowout after blowout, stomping on the Chiefs, Steelers. It could have been closer. The Chiefs, I think more so the Chiefs made a statement rather than that was a bad game. I think that was the first time we've seen the Chiefs really flex their power and actually try and beat a team, in about 12 weeks. Really, you can even date back to last season. So, yes, you can say the Chiefs just made a statement, but that game wasn't close. The Ravens-Texans game was just a dismantling of the Houston Texans. I mean, that was not only the Texans getting exposed, but they got dismantled, and the Ravens made a lot of statements, which we will get into later in the show. But right now, it's the NBA spotlight. The NBA flexing its muscles on the NFL. And, of course, LeBron being the leader, the face of the NBA, and not only just the face of the NBA, LeBron's the face of sports, okay? He's the face of sports in the NFL, in America, and unless you're counting soccer players, he's the face of sports in the whole globe, okay? Outside of soccer players, LeBron is the biggest non-soccer player athlete in the world right now. So when he speaks, ripples occur. And LeBron, right after the game, he says, you know what? Family, I love you guys. Merry Christmas to my family back home. I'm coming home. And I love the NFL. I love the NFL, but Christmas is our day. He does it in Kanye West at the VMAs fashion. I love the NBA. I love it. Merry Christmas, by the way, but this is our day. NFL, what are you doing? Now, if the Chiefs, Steelers went to overtime and it just took the best out of Patrick Mahomes to pull out a win, and, then, the comment would have been a little mistimed, especially because the NBA viewership has been dropping, and that's been the topic of this season, honestly. The biggest topic of this NBA season hasn't been the play of anybody. At the beginning, it was the Cavaliers, running through everybody. But at this point, when you mention the NBA, the biggest topic is the viewership dropping. Are they going to change something with the three-point line? Are they going to change up the shooting? And, if there was ever a message to be sent, it was yesterday on Christmas.
So this Thanksgiving, have the NBA do a couple of games instead of the NFL.
Yeah, right. And I don't think the NBA played on Thanksgiving.
I don't remember.
Let me see. Yeah, and that's the thing now.
Because Thanksgiving has kind of been a football.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. And Christmas is supposed to be NBA.
Yeah. So what's going on here? Come on, guys. Let's play nice.
Yeah. Let's play nice. And just keep things cordial. No need to poke any bears here.
Oh, yes, there is.
Yeah, there was.
We love it.
And look what happened.
Yeah.
Look what happened. Now, I don't think these teams went out and were like, all right, let's keep these games close because the NFL is competing with us today. But I do think all of the teams with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder thought to themselves, no, it's time we start playing some real basketball. Let's because I mean, I don't know if there has been a day this year where every single game was within 10 points. I don't know how to exactly go and look, but there's no way. I would bet my salary from December 26th all the way to February 26th. We'll make those 2 dates, and I'll give away the salary to a caller. No, it's jokes. Don't call unexpected for my salary. It's not that much either.
How about your producer?
Yes. Okay.
You can give it to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll throw it on Bob. So if anybody wants Bob to get double the paycheck, right? Exact double. Go ahead and call in. And you let me know if there's been a game this season where every NBA game was within 10 points. It was beautiful to watch. And I don't mean 150 to 140. I don't mean 135 to 128. We're talking 100 to 110. We're talking defensive games, the stars showing up. Of course, LeBron and Steph, they gave us enough to talk about for 30 minutes. I mean, we see two of the greatest players ever, right? Both of these guys, I think, are solidified top 10 players. If you don't want to put Steph in the top 10, you're being an old timer. You're being an old schooler. Look, he's top 10. Steph is top 10, and you can make debates about how high up he is on the list. But, boy, I mean, how awesome was it to see those two stars go at it? You look at the Olympics last season and everyone's saying, okay, make sure you don't take this for granted. That's why I was so invested into Olympic basketball last summer. Because, again, the same topic, the NBA, the competition, this and that. But look, the Americans were not dominating most of the competition. Some of those games were close. They almost lost to, I think it was Nigeria. They almost lost. France played them well in the championship game, and we were forced to see the stars of our league put on a show. We were forced to see Steph pull out all of the tricks out of his hat and give us the gold medal. And then you ask yourself, how many more times are we going to get to see the greatest players at the same time play at their best? And yesterday was a very, very healthy dose of that said thing. Steph Curry, 38 points, just two absolutely ridiculous threes at the end of the game. And I think anyone watching knew those were going in. What's really absurd is after Austin Reeves hit the game-winning layup, or to give them the lead at the time, and Steph caught the ball and just threw up a heave from full court with 1 second left, we all still kind of held our breath a little bit. We all still were, all right, he can make this. This guy, and not because of luck, this guy can make this because he's that good. And I think we have to appreciate that we could be seeing, the tail end of Steph's career. We could be seeing, I think we are seeing the tail end of LeBron's career. And we don't know how much longer these guys are going to be around. I mean, unless Steph decides, okay, I can be a Klay Thompson, I can be a Ray Allen, I'll just post up somewhere, come off screens. I mean, he could play. Take the day that Steph decides it's time to retire. He can no longer run around and shoot fadeaway threes, which I think he'll always be able to do. But let's just say he decides, okay, I'm getting older. From that day on, if he just mentally put himself in a state of mind where, okay, I'm now going to shift from Steph Curry to Ray Allen. Celtics Ray Allen, because the young Ray Allen was a whole different player. But if Steph decided, okay, I'm going to turn into Celtics Ray Allen, he could play 5 more years. And I mean, the distance he's going to have on that 3-point record is going to be it's going to be like John Stockton with the assist record. You know, no one's ever going to come close to the John Stockton assist record. That's how Steph's 3-point's going to be. I mean, it's just that simple. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Jokic, even Joel Embiid put on a show on Christmas Day and sent a message to the NFL, and I think to the fans like me as well. Like, we can still play competitive basketball. This is still good basketball. Don't just turn the TV off because you don't see Michael Jordan out there. You don't see Kobe out there. You don't see Carmelo Anthony anymore out there. That's not a reason to turn the TV off. So I, being the credible person that I am, felt that I had to get on camera and get on air, and I was wrong. I was incorrect. All Christmas games yesterday were a great watch, and some of the NFL games, or the NFL games, were not the best watch. And we're going to get into NFL versus NBA more when we get back. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing. This is the opening drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gala Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66, Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
FM AM 610, the sports animal, and I was wrong. Rest in peace to the NFL day. Failed experiment. The NFL, I know I gassed you guys up. I know I said NBA couldn't compete. Viewership, the point line, the style of play, the physicality, they're too friendly, this and that. And look, I was wrong. Okay, absolutely wrong. Before the game, LeBron and Steph were joking around in the pregame, hugged each other, just having fun. And then they go out and put on one of the best games of the year. Reggie Miller said after the game that might be one of the top 2 Christmas games he's ever watched. In 2024, one of the best basketball games somebody's ever watched in 2024. Now, I'm not trying to give a backhanded compliment, but we don't see competition like that in the regular season anymore. We don't see it. Not even in the NFL do you see regular season competition like that. All competitive games. And I don't know if you want to give credit to the NBA for the matchups they picked, if you want to give credit to the players for playing with a chip on their shoulder, but the NBA sent a message, and LeBron, again, post-game, I love the NFL, but Christmas is a day that belongs to the NBA. Real quick, I've got this list up on ESPN.com. We got some Lobo commits here, right? We got some Lobo football commits. I know last week we had a call in that gave us the tip-off on Toa Fave, and he is committed from Concord, California, De La Salle High School. Toa is 6'1", 190 pounds. We've also got a signed 3-star safety out of Smithfield, Utah, Titan Saxton. The Lobos have also got commitment from Zale Smith. He's an athlete, listed as an athlete, 6', 190 out of Portland, Oregon, Central Catholic High School. We got outside linebacker, Titan Jones. He's signed. We've signed an offensive tackle, 6'5", 280 out of Phoenix, Arizona, Jordan Cunningham. Chris Joe, safety out of California, Liberty High School. He's 6'3", 190. The Lobos have also added on another defensive end, 6'2", 240. Sounds like a pass rusher. It's a good pickup. He signed Ryan Tillman out of Utah. And you got a couple of Utah recruits on here, as you'd expect, right? A couple of Utah recruits. Ryan Tillman, safety out of Utah. Jackson Irwin, outside linebacker out of California. Look, the Lobos and Jason Eck, they're doing their due diligence. They're working. Over the holidays, while we're opening presents, they're trying to give us presents. Coaching staff, all intact. So there will be the correct culture. We will have the players in place that Coach Eck desires, as he's able, with him being signed at the point in time that he was signed, you're going to be able to get a decent amount of your recruits in. Okay, you're going to get your recruits in, get them through some practices, try to build some camaraderie, and see if you guys can top off last year. Last year going into that season, we didn't know what to expect from the Lobos. I think if you take the season before last year and you compare it to last year, it was a step up. And 2 seasons ago, that was a step up. Okay, so every season, although we haven't gotten the results we've wanted as a Lobo fan, every season's gotten a little bit better. Just a teensy-weensy bit better. You know, last year's victory over Washington State, one of the best victories that the Lobo football team's had in a little while. So you're inching. You got to take it one season at a time, one step at a time. And it's nice to see that Coach Eck is not taking his holiday break, and he is putting together the next Lobo football team for this upcoming season. So how do you guys feel? Is the end of Steph Curry near? Is the end of LeBron James near? What can these guys do to extend their careers? You can always call in at 505-246-0610. Almost messed up that number there, even though I hear it every day. One thing that's super confusing is, being a producer in KKOB, that number and the KNML number are two different numbers. So,
vastly different.
Yeah, vastly different. So you don't want to send over some Lobo fans calling in to Mr. BV over there on the.
Well, he started here.
Yeah, he did start here, so he
could handle it.
Yeah, he'd handle it, but he'd nicely tell you. I think he may have called the wrong.
What's even worse is when I answer the phone with News Radio 770 KKOB, and I'm in here, instead 610 the sports animal. Oh, I always get red in the face.
Well, at least you can't. No one can see, right?
That's true.
No one can see. You're able to sit in the safety of the studio
of anonymity.
Yes.
Don't you like the way I rolled that off the tongue?
So let's see. So the NFL.
Let's go back to sports.
Yeah, let's get back to NFL versus NBA, right?
Okay. There's a contest there?
There is. I don't think the NBA wanted to start a competition, but
the NFL did.
The NFL, although they are bigger in America, basketball is bigger globally. So like around the world, basketball, number one, more people can play it. Mm-hmm. More people do play it. Mm-hmm. And when you go over to like Europe, the play style is a little different when you go overseas, but for the most part, basketball is basketball.
Yep.
In the NFL, they've started, they've been playing games in France,
Germany,
Brazil, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Mexico City.
Yeah.
That was a tough one.
Yeah, the players were not happy about any of those, except for the Germany and the France, of course. But the NFL is trying to make football bigger globally. And in order to do that, it's like two lions being in the same area in a jungle, not a jungle, the Sahara. Mm-hmm. You can't have two alphas. So naturally, although you can be a huge fan of lions, those two lions don't like each other the way you like them. And they are going to fight over their territory. The same way as fans, you could like the NFL and the NBA, but with the NFL putting games on Christmas, they're like playing their hand. They're making that first move and trying to stump the NBA. And, I don't think the ratings for both of these sports have dropped yet for yesterday's games. But I would hope the NBA had better viewers, more viewers, because the quality of sports was just that much better. And I did not expect it. And again, it wasn't just one game. It was not just the Lakers-Warriors, although I'm sure that was the best one. Take a look at the Spurs. The Spurs and the Knicks. They played an awesome game. Wemby, 42 points, 4 blocks, 18 rebounds. I mean, just absurd numbers. And I tell you one thing about Wemby, and this is why I like bringing him up, because he is one of the rare players where he says, look, I don't like all the friendliness. Okay? What's the point in me hanging out with everybody if I'm trying to be better than these guys? If I want to be better than them, if I want to be a better basketball player and have that competitive edge, why would I sit here and be all buddy-buddy with these guys? And I can't disagree. It's an old school mindset. But to spoil Wemby's performance, 42 points out of Wemby, Mikal Bridges, season high, 41 points. Again, season high, So there was some extra sauce thrown on these games. And as time goes on, you know, Kevin Durant has spoke up about it now. Steph Curry, LeBron, they've all spoke up about it now. You know, post game, they asked LeBron, so what's good about the NBA nowadays? What reasons are there to still watch? And again, if you want to deny that the biggest talk of this season is the NBA's viewership, imagine LeBron scoring 31 points on Christmas, winning a 2-point game in which Steph Curry had an explosion at the end. And one of the main questions is, why should we still watch? And what LeBron say? Oh, because of LeBron and Steph Curry. That's why you guys should still watch, because of LeBron and Steph, because we can put on great performances, even though 3 days ago, a joint interview just dropped between LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Steph. I mean, in the 80s, you weren't going to get Magic, Bird, and MJ to sit down, or you could say Magic, Bird, and Dr. J. You weren't going to get those three guys to sit down and have an interview, especially not Michael Jordan, Isaiah Thomas, and Larry Bird. Those guys were not going to sit down before a matchup and have a friendly interview and laugh and joke around. Now, you know, if you're listening, call in 505-246-0610 and let me know something. Did the Dream Team, after the Dream Team, did they lighten up a little bit? Did they become more friendly? Did that change things? Or did after the Olympics, they just go back to being enemies? And that's a real question because, of course, me being 27, I was not around. And I know the Olympics this season, it really helped out, you know, the players just getting to know each other. You have to become not friends, but you have to learn how to work with each other and have no tension if you're going to all go and win a gold medal together. And that's what they did. So I'm sure that has a lot to do with it. But again, these are not things we were seeing beforehand. So I think what now the NBA's done to the people like me and Magic Johnson and Charles Barkley and Shaq, I like putting my name with those guys. To the people like us who are saying, look, it's too friendly, that's why the competition's not as stiff, they just proved us wrong. They just proved us wrong. And post-game, Kevin Durant as well, he says, look, it's not just me, LeBron, and Steph. You got Nikola Jokic out here. He's one of the greatest players. Durant calls Jokic top 10 all time. Now, you can call me a hater all you want, as being a Lakers fan. I don't know if I want to give Jokic top 10 all time. That's a close one. But he's making a strong case. And the NBA has sent out their official warning shot to the NFL. Leave Christmas up to us. And, you know, Roger Goodell, he's got pride. He's already booked games on Christmas this year, so he's not going to not do it next year, or it's highlighting that they got smoked on the Christmas competition. He can't just turn around and say, yeah, you know what? For certain reasons, we're not going to schedule any games on Christmas again.
It's always follow the money. They got a lot of money from Netflix.
They did.
So it's follow the money, too.
And I love this segue, because when we get back, we're going to not only jump into the NFL, but we're going to jump into this whole Netflix deal. A lot of people were not happy with the quality of the Netflix broadcast. And all I got to say is, look, maybe you guys need to look into getting Starlink, because my connection was just fine. My quality was wonderful. So we're going to get into what Wi-Fi you guys should go into getting when we get back to watch some NFL. You're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing, Adrian back at the ProView Studios producing as well. Thank you. Stay tuned.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
I'm David C. Chavis, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired out.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson here with Bob Walpo producing on 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal. Make sure you tune in tonight. We've got Pittsburgh at Toledo. the Game Above Bowl at 12 p.m. And then we've also got your Thursday night football, Seahawks at the Bears at 5:30. So if you're not able to watch those games on TV, you can tune in right here to KNML on 95.9 FM and AM 610 in order to watch. I mean, not watch, but, you know, the commentators are so good, it feels like you're watching it. But you can listen to the game, and that might be a less stressful process than what the NFL fans went through yesterday, according to them. Article says NFL fans did little to hide their frustration with Netflix after encountering technical problems while trying to watch the league slate of Christmas Day games. On Wednesday, Netflix was set to host two AFC clashes, the Steelers versus Chiefs and the Texans versus Ravens, after the streaming giant paid $150 million for the rights to each NFL game. But early struggles to maintain the broadcast of the showdown between the Chiefs and the Steelers was derided. So we'll appreciate this as producers a little bit, Bob. So I guess, yes, you had your streaming issues, but that's internet-based. But to be specific, there were issues with audio, and they were showing certain things, but different audio was playing. And when I was watching the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight on Netflix and I saw those issues, I could imagine just the scene in the production studios of Netflix, people running around with their heads flying off. They're just chaos in there, because I know the pressure it is for the radio station if something skips or something goes down, the amount of panic that flushes through your brain just to quickly get something on air. So I could only imagine these guys in the Netflix studios. It says there are several glaring technical issues even before the first half ended at Chris Scherr Stadium. Subscribers reported problems streaming the blockbuster matchup. Also, the Netflix score bug showed the Steelers with only 2 timeouts just as the game kicked off. So it's little things like that. And for Netflix and the NFL as well, if you're going to sign over these games, I understand $150 million is a whole lot. It's a whole lot of money.
I could use it.
We both could. We could even split it and still be perfectly fine.
Yep. Except for taxes.
Yeah, we'll bring it down to like 30.
Yeah.
It's still good. But you have to make sure that these types of things are sorted out and fixed. And Netflix is, you know, I can't even say to their defense, because you tried this with the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, there were issues. Little things like 2 timeouts instead of 3 to start the game off. Those are the little things, and it just lets me know, like you said earlier, it's all about money.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about money, and you got to be better. You know, Netflix, I don't know if this is one of those stay in your lane moments, but if you can't get the streaming service correct, you don't want to mess it up for the NFL on the day where the NBA is playing marvelously.
Yep.
And you know what? You know what I watched the Lakers game on? ABC. A regular cable channel. I watched it on ABC. Just like sports are supposed to be. Now, I know the NBA, they have their streaming deals as well. But wasn't it nice to just watch game on Channel 7? Like the old-fashioned way, just to watch a good old basketball game on Christmas. Why do I got to buy Netflix to watch football?
Because you'd rather watch football than basketball?
Before yesterday, that was correct. But moving forward, I think the NBA, they may have drawn me back in.
You know what's going to happen is an explosion of flat screen TVs, and you're going to have households with like sports bars, 3 and 4 screens.
Yeah. And that's,
I'm sure there are some already, but
oh yeah. And they're forcing our hand. There's like no choice. It's either you buy all the streaming services and you figure out some split screen, or you have to get multiple TVs.
Yeah.
And and I've learned that this week more than anything, because I've never had to keep track of sports day in and day out like I have had to this week. Because beforehand, if it's JJ or Jeff here, or if it's 2 men on in the afternoon, well, 2 Men On doesn't really hit sports that hard anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
I can go into 2 Men On.
The sports adjacent.
Yes, as they like to say, they're sports adjacent. So for 2 Men On, I can just go into that show with a good attitude.
Yeah.
Go in there with a good attitude, be ready to
Me
laugh.
too.
Yes.
And I have a house where I could really put up 3 fairly large TVs too. And
Yeah.
be able to watch all 3 at the same time.
I bet you can mount it and everything yourself too, couldn't you?
I'm past that stage. I'd rather use the checkbook at this point.
I don't blame
Especially
you.
for something as heavy as a 50-inch flat screen.
Yeah.
That really takes like 2 people.
I agree. I just got a 65-incher.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was tough putting that thing up. I was using all my muscles and adrenaline to not drop the new TV.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I didn't.
That's why 2 people makes sense.
Yes, and I should have, in hindsight, that was the smartest option. But I tell you what, the Chiefs, although it was a blowout, the Chiefs, they pull viewers. The Chiefs are going to generate viewers, and I must say, although that was a domination, they've been fun to watch, to say the least. Their games have had very exciting endings, and they had a statement win over the Steelers yesterday. Now, all year, the Chiefs, they've barely beat teams. They win by a score every time. And the Steelers are a team that's played really well this season. 10 games, Mike Tomlin, once again, he's never been under 500 as a coach. Just an amazing stat to have, especially when you haven't coached a lot of stars. But that's what he's dealing with, and the Chiefs got him pretty bad yesterday. The Chiefs, with a statement win, and what I want to ask is because we got to go to break soon, correct, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what I want to ask and talk about coming up after the break, if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year, are they on pace to be the best dynasty? And I'd like to compare them to the Patriots. I like to compare Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes because me personally, I don't even put Mahomes above Rodgers. I don't put Mahomes above Aaron Rodgers. You can scoff all you want, but I've seen Rodgers do some things in certain moments that, Mahomes may do cooler things. He may have more trick passes and behind the backs and all those things, but Rodgers didn't do things to show off. Rodgers made great plays when he had to win the game. And not saying Mahomes doesn't, but I think Mahomes, he more so does things to show off and show off his skill set. But Rodgers, I believe, and Brady, I think both of those guys are still above Mahomes. And I don't know if I'm ready to put Mahomes above them. And I don't know if I'm ready to put the Chiefs above the Patriots dynasty. So the phone lines will be open, 505-246-0610. Call in and you let me know your thoughts. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpost producing, Adrian back at ProView producing for the TV side, Channel 26. Stay tuned right here on the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfasfa.org. That's nmfasfa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
I'm David C. Chavez.
The sports animal.
So Mahomes is expecting. I guess I don't think that's breaking news at all by any means. I don't think anything in his life is breaking news at this point. Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing. Here in the studio, Adrian back at ProView, getting us going on channel 26. And what would you do if I told you, Bob, that Patrick Mahomes, his number one motivation for not scoring, but for winning the number one seed in the AFC was so that he could be at home to be there for the birth of his child?
Works for me. Yeah.
That's your motivation. So after the game, Mahomes says he promised his wife the one seed so he can have a baby, so they can have their baby together. And how the timing just times up real well, I guess. During your bye week, go home, see your newborn be born into this world, and then go on to win a Super Bowl, at least attempt to. Mahomes, no matter what the motivation is, this guy has just season after season after season, he's proven people wrong, including me. And as I started off the show displaying, I'm the first to say if I'm incorrect about something. And the Chiefs they've made me worry this season. They've made the Chiefs fans worry because they just haven't won a lot of games in typical Chiefs fashion, just flexing their power, flexing their talent, showing that they are the Super Bowl favorite. But this might be one of those years for them where they, it's hard to say this because they have only lost one game, but they catch their stride toward the end of the season. How good do you have to be as a team to catch your stride at the end of the season and still only have one loss. I mean, that's serious talent there. It says here the Chiefs weren't home for the holidays, but they will be for the duration of their upcoming postseason run. For the fourth time in the Patrick Mahomes era, the Chiefs locked up the AFC's number 1 seed and did so with perhaps their most impressive showing of the season. Mahomes, he just keeps doing it. And I tell you what, he has the ankle injury, correct? So what do you have to do if you're a quarterback with an ankle injury and you don't want to get hit too often? You get rid of the ball quicker. It's that simple. You get rid of the ball faster. Quick throws, quick passes, get your run game going. And just like the Chiefs keep doing, whatever it takes to win, whatever they have to do, they do just that. It says here, Patrick Mahomes averaged his quickest time to throw of the season, which is 2.34 seconds, and the second quickest against the Steelers of his career. The second quickest of his career against the Steelers, completing 20 of 24 passes under 2.5 seconds for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's Brady-esque. Okay? That is Brady-esque. 20 of 24 passes under 2.5 seconds for Patrick Mahomes. 190 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's game plan. That's preparation. That's quarterback IQ to be able to read a defense. I mean, if you're throwing the ball in under 2.5 seconds, you know exactly where you're going to throw the ball before the ball is hiked. I mean, he had 29 completions on the day. 20 of those just under 2.5 seconds. You can't make it up. What do you even do? If a quarterback's getting rid of the ball that fast, there's nothing you can do. You have to just try to play close defense. And, you know, that's what Tom Brady did. That's what Tom Brady made defenses think about. We have to take away the quick options. And it's just something it's a lot easier said than done. Mahomes, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns, probably his best game of the season. And it comes with a high ankle sprain in their third game in 10 days. The Chiefs voiced they were not happy with playing 3 games in 10 days.
I wouldn't be either.
It's a lot.
You wouldn't have been either.
No, I don't think I couldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have played 3 games in 10 days. You know, also my body is 30 years older than I am, but that's something that I would not have been able to do. Now, yes, they have all the facilities and they have this and that, but
it wears your body out real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Just playing every Saturday is kind of
it's rough. A lot.
Yeah.
And in this game, Travis Kelce takes the sole leader position of the most receiving touchdowns for a tight end in NFL history. Is Kelce the GOAT? Is he the best tight end ever? Phone lines will be open, 505-246-0610. You call and let me know your thoughts. And when we get back, we're going to talk some Brady versus Mahomes, and we're also going to talk some Lamar Jackson. Lamar he's not knocking on the door of the MVP discussion. He's kicking it down, and we're going to get to some more of that when we get back after the break. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing, Adrian back at the ProView Studios, getting us going on Channel 26. You're listening to 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard. serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs.
Caster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
Sparks that ignite to my intros, tempos will flow, minds will just blow. Ready or not, countdown can't be stopped.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I am Zay Johnson here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Bob Walpole producing, Adrian back at ProView Studios, getting everything going on Channel 26. Looking at the texter here, and we got Raul. He says, come on, nobody watched the NBA yesterday. And then later on, he says, over 28 million people watched the NFL and only 6 watched the NBA. Wow. I think that's a traditional thing. And also kudos to the NFL for that. I mean, I think that is why you're getting the attention from guys like LeBron, and he's going out of his way to make these comments and saying, look, it's our day. Christmas is our day. I think the NFL, if head-to-head with the NBA, it'll always get more viewers. I mean, the Americans, we like the physicality that comes with football. We like the toughness. You know, there's always that feeling of you never know what can happen next. And you had the Chiefs and the Steelers. I mean, you had the Chiefs playing and you had the Steelers playing. And then you get the Ravens as well with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I mean, those were box office players. Now, I do think as much as those players are box office, I just don't think in hindsight, right? Hindsight's 2020. Before these games, you're full on expecting the Chiefs Steelers to be more entertaining than most of these games for the NBA. You're expecting a good game. When you see Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry playing with CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, who is a Texas team, so they're going to get a lot of viewers. You know, you're expecting these to be good competitive football games, and they weren't. So I think in hindsight, the NBA had a much better product yesterday. But as far as head-to-head viewers, I don't think the NBA, I mean, I would bet that a Cowboys regular season game is getting more viewers than an NBA Finals game, like by a pretty decent sized margin. I would assume so, but that's just an assumption. I tend to jump to conclusions, but I would bet that in a regular season Cowboys, like if the Cowboys and Chiefs were to play right now, I don't think there's any basketball game that would be able to top those ratings. But unfortunately, ratings don't always translate to quality of a watch. And I think that, you know, it's a fact, unless you just don't like basketball. If you like NFL and you like NBA and you like both of those sports, the NBA had the better product yesterday. They just did. But anyways, moving on, we had the Ravens, right? Yesterday, they just stomped on the Houston Texans 31-2. 31-2. All the Texans got was a safety. An embarrassing, exposing Christmas day for CJ Stroud and the Texans. And if you're the Texans, I don't know what you guys can do moving forward. You know, this is one of those losses where it's like a measuring stick. You know, you hear a lot of coaches going into a season or going into a big game, and you're trying to see where your team is. How do we match up against one of the better teams? How close are we to being over the hump? The Texans before this game were 9-6. You're one win away from double digits. I think we all can agree once you hit that 10-win mark, you're solidified as a above average football team. Even before, when there was only 16 games played in 17 weeks. You know, you got to 10 wins, you were officially a above average football team, and you were a team that just can't be scoffed at. And for sure, you should be a playoff team unless you're in the NFC North. Of course, that's a little bit different. But CJ Stroud, 17 for 31, 185 yards, 1 interception. Joe Mixon, 9 carries, 26 yards. You know, I know you're missing Tank Dell, but we're talking about Tank Dell. It's not prime Antonio Brown, okay? It's not. We're not talking about Justin Jefferson out there. Tank Dell is a great football player. And yes, him and Stroud are best friends. And I know Stroud, whenever something happens to Tank Dell, when Tank Dell was injured earlier this season, he had a gunshot wound. CJ Stroud says even before he knew how serious it was, he just started breaking down crying. That's his best friend. And you saw last week when Tank Dell, who, by the way, it's confirmed a torn LCL, a torn MCL, and a torn ACL, and a dislocated kneecap. Now, dislocated, none of those things would feel good, but a dislocated kneecap, that just sounds, it just makes my stomach turn even hearing it. I could only imagine. There was a buddy I played football with at New Mexico Highlands, and he had a dislocated kneecap. And, when you're playing at a D2, not to throw any shade at Highlands, but, injuries like that, you don't get into the doctor as quick as you probably should. It takes time. They treat it as if you're scheduling a physical. You're trying to get your sports physical. No, my kneecap's dislocated. So naturally, I guess when your kneecap dislocates like that and you don't get it fixed, your quad muscle slowly pulls your kneecap up your leg. And by the time this guy was able to get in for surgery, over a month later, so he was living his life with his quad muscle pulling his kneecap up his leg. And by the time he finally got surgery, his kneecap was in his thigh.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine that, because I've got one little muscle or tendon or something that goes over the top of my kneecap, and it feels like somebody tapped it or something. I can't do a full squat, because it hurts too much to push up on.
I'd imagine.
So I cannot imagine a dislocated kneecap.
Dislocated kneecap and everything else torn. So,
ouch.
Yeah. So he'll be out for at least a year. Stroud was not happy about that. He broke down into tears on the sideline of that game. And then going into this one, I don't know how his week's been or how much of a locker room guy Tank Dell is for this team, but the Texans are not 29 points worse than the Baltimore Ravens. An awful game for the Texans, but at the same time, could the Ravens be figuring it out? Last week, when me and JJ did our, top 5 surprises and top 5 disappointments, the Ravens at the time were 9-5. And I put them on the top 5 disappointments list because coming into this season, you add Derrick Henry to a Lamar Jackson-led team, and just schematically, you're assuming, okay, there's nothing anybody's going to be able to do with these guys. All you need is Mark Andrews or another receiver to be just half decent. Be half decent, and Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry can literally carry you on their backs to an AFC Championship game. And they were 9-5. They had lost to the Browns. They had lost to the Steelers. And you're asking yourself, what's going on with this Ravens team? But just like I said on Tuesday and Monday, the run game is making a resurgence. Derrick Henry last night, or yesterday, I should say, 27 carries, 147 yards, 1 touchdown. And get this, he had 10 carries for 80 yards in the first quarter. The first quarter, 10 carries, 80 yards. And they didn't do that to embarrass the Texans. They did that because that's the style of football that not only is winning football, but when you have a guy like Derrick Henry and you've got a guy like Lamar Jackson, you can do that. Because 10 carries in the first quarter for Derrick Henry, guess what that does? The play action is now wide open. And who worse to have to deal with in the play action rollout than Lamar Jackson, who scampered for a 48-yard touchdown run. And here's the catch about Lamar's run. He reached the top speed of his career with 21.25 miles per hour And in the post game, when asked about this, hey, Lamar, so, did you know that run you had for the touchdown? It was the fastest you had been clocked for this whole season. He's like, oh, I was jogging. Really? How fast was it? 21 miles? Oh, wow. I was jogging. That's cool. That's fun. Jog for 21 miles per hour. And if you watch it, you can't deny it. He looks like I don't know about jogging, but he does not look like he's running as fast as it looks like he's running fast enough to score a touchdown. And he's clocked at 21.25 miles per hour. So with that being said, and we're going to talk about this after the break, the MVP race has now gotten very, very spicy. Because you can't just offset Lamar. Yes, Derrick Henry's season, as it always does, a running back having a big season will make you second guess, giving a quarterback the MVP. But if there's ever a guy that's going to be able to pull it off, it's Lamar Jackson, who's looking at his potential third NFL MVP. And in Lamar's case, there is no quarterback that has won 3 MVPs or two MVPs without a Super Bowl. So all Lamar Jackson needs in order to put himself in the category with amongst the best quarterbacks of all time is just get a Super Bowl. And the Ravens could possibly be heading that way. And we're going to get to that after the break. You're listening to The Opening Drive. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing. We got Jerry Palms coming up at 8:30 to talk some college football. We're going to have Jake Cascio in studio at 9 a.m. And he's going to talk some Knicks with us. He's going to talk some Buffalo Bills. And him being a Josh Allen fan, he's also going to hop in on this MVP conversation. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to The Opening Drive. Stay right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their family.
Johnson, Bob Wapo, and producing for me. Adrian back at ProView. We are also on Channel 26 as well as YouTube.com, ProView Networks. And we're talking some MVP here. NFL MVP discussion. The race is getting tighter than we thought it would be. You know, earlier as in a few weeks ago, it seemed like Josh Allen and Saquon were running away, you know, as a two-headed leader. But Lamar Jackson says not so fast. Last night, Lamar breaks Michael Vick's record. He is now the NFL's all-time quarterback leader in rushing yards. He accomplished that in his blowout win over Houston. And really quick, the Texans, at one point, they punted the ball down 29 points on 4th and 2. You want to talk about waving the white flag. You want to talk about giving up. Okay, as much as I hate on Mike McCarthy, I don't even know if he would have done something like that. I mean, you're down 29 points. Just go for it. Why give up? At least try to get more than 2 points. Absolute debacle of the Texans last night. But this MVP race has gotten real fun. Lamar Jackson is now at 3,955 passing yards, 852 rush yards with 43 total touchdowns. And compare that to Josh Allen, who's at 3,549 pass yards. That's about 400 yards less than Lamar. He's got 514 rush yards. That's 300 less rushing yards than Lamar. And he's got 38 total touchdowns. 5 less touchdowns than Lamar. So I say that to say this. Is Lamar Jackson the MVP frontrunner? Has he made a late surge in the MVP race? In my personal opinion, I know it's a quarterback award, and I know we naturally want to give this award to the quarterbacks, and I understand. It's the most important position on the field. At all levels of football, the quarterback is the most important person on the field. But the MVP award is not the MIP. It's not the MIP. It's MVP, most valuable player, not most important player. And in my humble opinion, I think the Eagles without Saquon they're a 9-win team right now at best. Yeah, they're 12. They're at 12 right now. They got 12 wins. Without Saquon, they're not even competitive in a lot of these games. You look at the game just recently, Jalen Hurts goes out in the first quarter. The Commanders come back and win the game. Yes, it's easy to blame that on Jalen Hurts, but if it wasn't for Saquon, they wouldn't have been up 14-0. He had 2 touchdowns. 2 first-quarter touchdowns. Countless times this season, the Eagles have been in harm's way. They've been in trouble. It's appeared that they were going to fall apart. They were going to lose. And what happens? You see Saquon just scampering down the sideline as everyone hopelessly chases him. You can't catch that guy in open field. By a long shot, he's got the most plus 10-yard runs without being touched in the NFL. And I think he's coming up on the record. And I don't know when that stat became a thing, when they started tracking that. But he's got it. Maybe he's created the stat. We give Jordan credit for creating the hand check. We got to give Saquon some credit here for this stat because he is so elusive. He's so fast. And look, I'll be the first guy to credit an offensive line. The Eagles have an awesome offensive line. They've had a dominant offensive line for some years now. Why do you think the tush push is so successful? Although Jalen Hurts squats about 600 pounds. So that's got a lot to do with it. But that's always been a physical football team. But the truth is the Eagles cannot win a Super Bowl on the arm of Jalen Hurts. The Eagles cannot beat the Chiefs or the Bills in a Super Bowl with the arm of Jalen Hurts. I don't think they can beat the Lions or the Packers just on the arm of Jalen Hurts. But you throw Saquon in there, who any time he touches the football, he can go to the house. Not to mention his backwards hurdle might go down as top 10, one of the best plays in NFL history. As of right now, you ask me, it's up there. It's top 5. One of the best spin moves, followed up by one of the most impressive hurdles I've ever seen in my life. You know, MVP is not just about stats. It's about what you bring to your team. It's about how much your team leans on you. Go back and look at the reactions of the sideline when Saquon does the things that Saquon does. It ignites the entire football team. It gives the team hope. It feels like your savior has now arrived. Every time Saquon scampers down the sideline for some ridiculous 70-yard touchdown, all Eagles fans just sit back and say, thank you, New York. Thank you for giving us this gift. Thank you for giving us Saquon Barkley. He's got 13 rushing touchdowns. He's on pace. He could very well break the NFL rushing record. Yeah, there's one more game, this and that. But who knows? They got Dallas next week. And, you know, the defense for Dallas has been playing better. Also, by the way, I give myself a pat on the back. I've made it an hour and 25 minutes into the show, and I haven't talked about Dallas. I've mentioned them, but I haven't talked about them. But he's got Dallas next week, and their defense has been playing better. But I don't know if they can hold Saquon. You know, he's going to come in here. They're going to give him the ball a lot. They're going to need him to have the ball a lot. They're still playing for something. The Cowboys are not, but the Eagles are. And I tell you what, there's no game that Dallas would rather win than this one. We already got our upset over the Commanders. If we can, if for the Cowboys players, not the fans, because the fans at this point were confused. But the players, they want to beat the Eagles. They're coming for Saquon. If he goes and puts a $150 and a touchdown and they beat Dallas, and then he breaks that record in the last game of the season, Saquon's got to be your MVP. And, you know, looking at Josh Allen, it hurts to say that he might be bumped down to third. You know, we'll talk with Jake about this a little later on. He's the biggest Josh Allen fan you'll ever meet. You know, he's in Revel. I guess Revel's a Bills bar. I didn't know that. So you got your Howie Sports page. They're a Packers bar. Then I guess Revel is a Bills bar. So Jake will be in here to talk about Josh Allen, but he might be bumped down to third because, I mean, you put these numbers next to each other with Lamar and Josh Allen, and it's hard to just discount Lamar. Josh Allen's team has played much better. I don't know if they played each other. Josh Allen's team has played better than Lamar's, but Josh Allen didn't have a good game last week. He had maybe his worst game of the year. Interception. He threw under 200 yards. In the running game, of course, back to my previous point, gave them that victory. But one thing we can all agree on is that the NFL MVP, it will be Lamar, Josh Allen, or Saquon Barkley. And it's a really good competition. Lamar's individually having the best season. Josh Allen's team is playing the best. And Saquon, just look at what the Eagles were without him. We can go ahead and use the good old LeBron James method. Okay, how good was this team with him? And now let's look at them when they didn't have him. And then that's how we'll measure how valuable this player is. And if you use that method of elimination, I'm leaning Saquon Barkley. But that is not the end of our NFL talk. We will get back into MVP discussion coming up after the break. We're going to have Jerry Palms in, and we're going to talk some college football. We're going to talk some bowl games. And if we think things went as expected, or if moving forward, some things will have to change. And we're also going to get into the second round of the playoff matchups right here on The Sports Animal. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing. Stay tuned to 95.9 FM and AM 610, The Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, backed by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66.
There was a lot of discussion on if it was a good idea, it was a bad idea. I know Herb Street has voiced his disapproval of the college football playoff just because, you know, every single game, the favorite team won and the favorite team covered. Now, this could be a bad thing, but also I thought to myself, like, isn't that the whole point of a bracket? Isn't that how it's supposed? Isn't that how it's supposed?
Well, I mean, if you're going to give higher seeds home field advantage, you would expect them to win. I don't know that covered matters much. The thing that I guess mattered to me is the home team's dominated.
Yes.
The team that was really the most competitive among the losers was Clemson. Nobody else was.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that happened in the 14 playoff too. So you don't know what you're going to get once these teams take the field. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. You always hope for good, but that didn't happen this time. And everybody's up in arms. Did they get the teams right? Well, how many of these teams were you going to change all 4 losers out? No. One of them automatically qualified. So
yes.
No, it's there's a lot of whining. ESPN stuff can be somewhat disingenuous because if they're shilling for the SEC, that's their, SEC's on their network. So, but that's, but I don't know. Kirk is usually pretty straight up, and I know that he was among the many complainers, but also you've got like Lane Kiffin, who's a good coach, a very good coach, but an even better whiner about the playoffs.
Oh yeah, especially on social media, he's been.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, his team wasn't going anyway.
Exactly.
So but you could have put different teams in there and still gotten similar results. So I don't think the change that you'd make to the playoff is to seed them straight up 1-12 instead of having, maybe Boise State and Arizona State lower ranked teams get buys, but those teams haven't played yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little early to complain about them.
Exactly. And I think so that makes me believe that you're kind of where I am with it, where I feel like this next round it'll give a big indication. But also what's dangerous is that there's 2 teams on blowout watch again. So the blowouts is what had the fans upset last time. But I think Boise State's on blowout watch. They're not in a good situation. Not that they're not in a good situation, but Penn State's favored 10.5 points.
Yeah, but remember, that's a team that took Oregon to the wire.
Yes.
Oregon needed 2 kick returns for touchdowns to beat Boise State earlier this year. And this is a program that in its history, and especially in this particular game, the Fiesta Bowl, rises to the occasion. So they've got the best running back in the country. Penn State may win big. They may. But I'm not going to sit here and just say Boise State can't hang around in this game or maybe even win it.
Yeah, and it does say, their favorite 10.5, but the FPI projection says Penn State by 5.4 points and a 65% probability to win the game. So at 65, it's kind of high, but it's also, I feel like that's giving Boise State some respect, just like you said.
Yeah, I like 5 better than 10, but I also, the one bet I was most sure about, the one line I was most sure about was Tennessee +7. And that was gone by the end of the first quarter. So it was apparent then that was not going to happen. So, that you just never know what you're going to get in these situations. And, there's a fair amount of time to prepare. And the teams with the buys have been sitting around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that won, it's a week and a half or maybe 2 before they get to play again. So,
yes.
So it's sitting around a little bit, but it's more like having a bye week in the middle of your season versus, having an entire month off and you kind of maybe get some rust.
Yeah, it's real easy for fans to assume that just because the team's coming off a bye week that they're going to be better and refreshed, but there's like rust that can take place.
Yeah.
So, in Oregon's case.
Well, and you go through the holidays, so it's not like you're practicing the whole time. And, every team is going to have a holiday break of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a long time between, putting on the pads and hitting in anger versus just going out and practicing.
So in Boise State, we mentioned Ashton Jeanty, their running back. It's hard to put things on his shoulders and have this expectation of him because every single game you at least expect. Like, for instance, in this game, I'm expecting Penn State to say, okay, anybody but that guy is going to beat us. So let's say.
Well, everybody has said that, and nobody's been able to stop it.
Exactly. So do you think.
So now, Penn State's defense, especially up front, is pretty good. The end, Abdul Carter's,
oh my gosh.
He's a first-round pick, a high first-round pick.
Yeah, top 10.
They definitely have some guys on defense. But that's the game plan for everybody against Boise. And, for the most part, it hasn't worked.
Exactly.
So, but that's how good he is. He's hard to bring down in a pile, and he's hard to bring down in open field. And, he's just a great player.
Yeah, he obviously leads college football in rushing, but even yards after contact, if you just gave him those yards after contact, he'd still be far in the lead for the leading rusher in college football. And that's just insane to think of. So I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so I want him. I want him on the Cowboys, right?
Why would you do that to him?
In the couple of interviews, he's given the tip of the hat. He's like, hey, my family's in Texas. It'd be the perfect spot for me.
Oh, there you go.
I'd like to play there.
There you go.
But, Jerry, things like that turn him off. And the things that should make him go get somebody, he's going to say, I'll be the diamond in the rough, and I'll go against the grain. But in this game, do you think it's possible, say Penn State holds him to 80 yards, do you think it's possible for his draft stock to fall? Or do you think his draft stock is already written, and whoever wants him is going to want him regardless of what he can do in this game?
Yeah, I don't think one game is going to change anything for him. He's already proven he can succeed against this level of competition. So if it doesn't happen, in the bowl game, well, then it doesn't. But he's already shown, with what he did against Oregon, that he can play against this level of competition.
100%. So then moving on, you got Texas. They're 13.5-point favorites against Arizona State. Texas is ranked 5th. Arizona State's ranked 4th. As we just talked about, we don't know how much weight that holds.
Not their rankings.
Yes.
Which are not the same.
Big difference.
As we talked about.
Yes, big difference. So how do you feel about that 13.5? I know you like 5 more than 10.5 for Penn State Boise. How do you feel about 13.5 versus Arizona State? Do you like that one?
I don't know. That just feels like a big number. I like Texas to win. I like Texas's chances to win better than I like Penn State's, even though both teams are favored. Penn State, for me, is still more than a 50-50 chance to win. They'd be my pick to win, but I just think Boise's better equipped. Texas's defense is outstanding as well.
Mm-hmm.
For Arizona State, the key is going to be to get Cam Scatterbo going.
Oh yeah.
Because if he can, and I like him a lot.
He's really good.
If he can be productive, it'll give Arizona State's chance to be diverse offensively and keep Texas's defense on their toes. But if he can't get going and they can just pin their ears back and come after the quarterback, it's going to be a long day for Arizona State.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. And that's schematically, you want to keep the game closer for Arizona State because if you're down 21, there's not much point in running the ball with Scatterbo. The last 2 games are, I believe, going to be the best ones. Ohio State, 2.5-point favorites versus Oregon. And this line shocked me. I know they looked amazing last week, but it did shock me to see Oregon as an underdog.
Well, Ohio State is the better talent team. And we saw that. We saw, like Max Ohio State, their potential, what they can do, the best Ohio State can be. They just showed against Tennessee.
Yeah.
And that Ohio State team is the favorite in this tournament, as far as I'm concerned. But we haven't seen it all the time. The Michigan game is, of course, the primary example. But even there were a couple other times that, they just kind of messed around and, you didn't see them just jump on teams from the start like they can. And, even the Indiana game, which they ended up dominating, was close, like tied at the end of the first quarter. So it's a team that is capable, as far as I'm concerned. They'd be the favorite to win the whole thing if they played like this against Michigan, or if they, but the Oregon game, the first one was out in Oregon, and that was great.
That went
all the way down to the wire. Ohio State had the ball and a chance to try and win it, but they just couldn't quite get. They just ran out of time, basically. So, this should be, I think, a pretty close game. I can understand why Ohio State is favored. Oregon played that other game at home. This one's neutral. I kind of like it because it's a proper old school Rose Bowl. But it's I picked Oregon to win the tournament, so I'm picking Oregon. But for me, the winner of this game wins the tournament.
Yeah, it seems like the winner of this one's going to be the favorite. And, as an Oregon fan, I'm a little nervous about this one. I'm definitely nervous.
Well, you should be. That's a really good team. If I was an Oregon fan, I'd be nervous too. But Ohio State fans should be nervous as well because this team has already beat you, so they know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. All right, in the last game, Notre Dame versus Georgia. Georgia's a 1.5-point favorite. If Carson Beck was playing, I think maybe this line's a little bigger. But, in college football, it's big losing your starting quarterback, but it's not the same as in the NFL. There's a lot of times where your backup is not far off, And I don't think that Georgia has another Carson Beck, but for them to be favored without their starter, I think that says a lot about Georgia.
It does. They're very different teams. Notre Dame is going to win with its defense. Its offense is functional, but not really great. So they're going to go as far as their defense takes. So they lost a key guy on their defensive line late in that Indiana game, and he's out for the year or the rest of the tournament. Mm-hmm. So that hurts. That hurts Notre Dame defensively, but the starting quarterback matters because of the experience. This is a kid that does not. He played the second half, and really, I thought acquitted himself pretty well. Mm-hmm. But then he got hurt as well. Although he's obviously healthy enough to play, but he just doesn't have a lot of experience as a player, which is good and bad. I mean, it's bad because you want to have someone who really is comfortable with the offense and in a lot of situations and live situations. But the good part of it is he's tough to scout because you don't have a lot of tape on him.
Exactly.
So there might be some things that Georgia can do creatively, especially to be able to call some things that maybe Notre Dame hasn't seen on film and be able to take advantage of that. But I like Georgia because I trust them offensively more than I do Notre Dame.
All righty. Thank you so much, Jerry, for the expertise. I hope that what I hope happens, and I hope that what you think is going to happen happens. So then I can be very happy and you can be correct. And there's nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jerry. And I hope, you have a great rest of your holidays and a happy new year.
All right. Thanks. You too.
All right. This is Zay Johnson here on The Opening Drive. Bob Walpole producing. Stay tuned after the break. We're going to talk a little bit more college football, and then we're going to have Jake Castro join us as we go over the NBA, the NFL, the MVP talks as we wrap up the last final hour on this show. You are listening to The Opening Drive right here on The Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
I'm a Blaze King customer, and I have been for the last 10 years. Blaze King stoves are very efficient, they're easy to maintain, and they use a lot less wood than you would typically use with a fireplace.
Blaze King, that's a fire.
The heat is on when it's a Blaze King wood stove, controlling heat up to 40 hours on a single load of wood with a built-in thermostat. See for yourself at either Blaze King showroom, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Blaze King, and now that's a fire.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Got shots? Got shots? Got shots?
During Got Shots, participating providers open their doors for any child who presents for immunizations, regardless of whether they are a patient or whether they have insurance.
The opening drive and had a good first 2 hours here. Got a short little quick segment here. We got to get ready for the last hour. Just finished talking to Jerry Palm about some college football playoffs. Just wanted to remind you guys, Penn State versus Boise State, Tuesday, December 31st at 7:30 p.m. Texas versus Arizona State will be January 1st at 1 p.m. Also on New Year's, Oregon versus Ohio State at 5 p.m. Followed up by Notre Dame versus Georgia, 8:45 p.m. Of course, all Mountain Time.
Don't forget Lobo basketball. Saturday
yes.
and Sunday. Men on Saturday at 1 o'clock.
Versus Colorado State.
And women Sunday over here at about 1 o'clock also.
All righty. Lobo basketball is back.
Yes.
I know the fans have been waiting for it, so stay tuned for that as well. And also stay tuned here for the last hour of the show. We're going to recap some things. I got some Deion Sanders news. I got a lot more fun talk coming up for you right after the break, right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
I'm Johnny Mack with a Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place.
We've got a lot of stuff that we can talk about. I know your Knicks won.
Yeah.
Your Josh Allen, he's got some competition now for MVP. It was kind of in the
After
bag.
getting that chain too?
Yeah. The chain's a gift, but Lamar Jackson's breathing down his heels. But I wanted to start out with your Knicks.
Okay.
Because all week I've been on air saying NBA, the quality of the NBA is going downhill. NFL, is taking over. Too much friends, too much 3-point shots going on, and too many blowouts, some other points. But, dude, yesterday on Christmas, the biggest deficit of any of the games was the last game.
Yeah.
It was the Suns winning by 10 points. And I'm like, 5 games and all of them were close. Like the NBA, you think they had like a chip on their shoulder? Or what do you think the explanation is?
Christmas has always belonged to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And, welcome to Christmas, NFL. But, the real king is always going to be the NBA. And I think certain games during the year in the NBA matter a little bit more than others. 82 games to play in a season is a lot. You got to go through that whole grind. You got to go through everything with that. But Christmas Day, they always put out a show. I've never seen a true blowout on Christmas in a long time.
Really? And I was thinking also, I'm like, I don't know if there's been a day this entire season where the biggest deficit was 10 points.
Yeah.
I feel like there's always some blowout, but the NBA stepped up and the Knicks and the Spurs kicked it off just as they should have. And not that I've had any expectations for the quality of game this would be, because you got Wemby and the Knicks and the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
And Wemby, right? Of course, 42 points, 18 boards, 4 blocks. And you're like, oh my God, of course they won.
Generational. But
yes.
No. McCall Bridges.
Yeah.
The king.
Oh, the king he is.
No, he's not the king of the New York Knicks team. I do owe McCall Bridges an apology, because with this start of the season, I expected a little bit more. But now the Knicks have had 4 guys this year put 40-point games up. OJ Anunoby.
He scored 40?
He put 40 up. Jalen Brunson did it, of course. Bodega Cat, Karl Anthony Towns did it. And then now McCall Bridges can join us.
And he did it at the perfect time. He's 41, 17 and 25, 6 for 9, 3. He used to play for the Nets, right?
Mm-hmm. He was with the Nets, and then he started off with the Suns.
He was with the Suns, too. And so who's for the Knicks? What are your expectations for them? Because, Brunson, he only had 20 in an off game.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys still beat a 42-point performance out of Wemby.
What I'm seeing with this team is anybody can have an off night, but somebody's going to try to step up into that role.
Okay.
And so, the difference with last season and this season is Jalen Brunson was the guy. He had to lead the team, and then Julius Randle was a big part of it during, for most of the season. Then he got hurt. Then it all went through Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
So then the team kind of just relied on that. But now we're seeing, OG Anunoby, he's had, time to, develop into his role there. And he's still a pure scorer, and he plays great defense. And we got great wings.
Mm-hmm.
Karl Anthony Towns can explode at any moment, and he expands the floor even more for us. So we're even deadlier than we've ever been.
So you think the future's looking up for the Knicks?
Yeah, the NBA future odds actually for a championship went down by 300 points from plus 1,300 to plus 1,000. So they have the third best odds.
Just imagine the ripple effect if the Knicks were to get to the NBA Finals.
I mean, the last time that happened, I believe, was 1976 or 73. Yeah, and Phil Jackson was on that team. He was playing.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was playing. He wasn't the coach. He was playing.
He was playing.
What position was Phil?
He was power forward.
Really?
Uh-huh. He played at North Dakota in college.
How about it?
Yeah, he was a pretty good hooper.
The more you know, Josh Hart. Dude, now, Josh Hart, I'm a Lakers fan.
Okay.
So the Lakers drafted him. Never did I expect to see this guy at 12 rebounds at like he's probably 6'7", 6'8".
He is
6'4".
Yeah. He was guarding Wembanyama yesterday too at certain moments in the game. But Josh Hart, in my eyes, is kind of just like an upgraded Draymond Green. And he's kind of like playing that glue role, and so they were actually giving him some smack talk, being like, now it's Josh Hart's turn. He goes, that's not my job, to put 40 points up in a game. He's like, that's not my job. He is a workhorse out there. He's going after boards. He's doing all the little extra small details and steps in the game that's causing the Knicks to be so successful. I don't think the New York Knicks would be as successful if they didn't have Josh Hart.
I can only imagine, and he's got 5 offensive rebounds, 7 defensive, so he's well balanced there. It's not like he's just crashing the boards on one side. 6 assists. You guys got 4 people in double digits here. Mikal, of course, with 41. Cat goes 9 for 16, 1 for 5 from 3. One thing I also want to talk about is all these guys shooting threes. You see pregame what happened to Joel Embiid?
Yeah, when he tripped. Yeah.
And I was on here saying Joel Embiid's too big to be shooting threes. I said that a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And then pregame, he's shooting turnaround fadeaways and hurts himself. And it's like, you don't see little guys doing that. You don't see little guys
at all.
So Cat, I see he's 1 for 5 from 3. How do you feel about, I know he's a floor stretcher. And he can shoot. He was in a 3-point contest and actually did well. How do you feel about guys like Cat shooting threes? You think it's like,
if they could knock him down, knock him down. Like Jokic is capable of doing it. Anthony Davis has had his moments where he can knock down threes, and like Giannis, he doesn't really do it. He maybe shoots 1 3 a game, 1 to 2 threes a game because he knows that's not his game. And I think, honestly, the problem with the NBA right now that everybody's complaining about is the game has just perfected itself. It's gotten to a point where it's all about the most efficient basketball that you can play. And the 3-point shot is a lot more efficient than taking 2 steps in and shooting a mid-range jumper. And, you get 1 less point now from that.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the game's at. And, like Wembanyama, he can stretch the floor like no other. And if he shoots at the top of the key or just all around anywhere, like he gets the job done. And I think it's just a matter of fact of, that is the trend where it's moving forward, and, there's not going to be a lot of post-up game, in the paint anymore. And when you have to, you have to. Yeah. But the goal now is just get the 3 points. And if you don't, we'll get another possession in 20 seconds.
Yeah. And, the league's changing, or just, even if you were a big guy and you didn't start out shooting, you have to learn how to start shooting. For example, Dwight Howard, you see he was in a 3-point contest in Taiwan. He scored 15 points.
Yeah, crazy.
15 points.
So I looked it up. Dwight Howard has hit 22 3-pointers in his career. Now, mind you, it was a different era, and the center was expected. That's
still a lot.
Most of those threes were hit with the LA Lakers in that last little run. Yeah, and he wasn't bad with it, And if you get the spacing and all that, anybody can do it. And I think the thing with the NBA is if they're like doing something that they're not good at on the floor, in an open gym, they can get it done.
Yes.
Like at practice, Dwight Howard led the team in free throw percentage, but in the game, he couldn't do that because it's that mental part of the game,
Yeah, and he's at the line, and people are starting to get in his ear, and they're starting to talk.
And shooting in a gym, or like an auxiliary gym versus a stadium is 2 different animals.
Yeah.
That depth perception, you got everybody in the background too. That's why, like, in the NBA bubble, in that little auxiliary gym in Disney World, everybody was lights out. TJ Warren, he was going to be considered, like an MVP during that whole run.
He was. And I remember that. And I don't think he's in the NBA anymore, is he?
I haven't heard anything.
He might be playing.
Actually, TJ Warren originally during the offseason was with the New York Knicks.
Really?
And we cut him. So
sent him to the Shanghai Sharks, huh?
Yeah. The Guangdong Tigers. That's my team.
All right. We're in the studio with Jake Cascio. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpost producing. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back from the break, we're going to do a little bit more NBA talk. And then we're going to shift back to college. I got some Deion Sanders news. It's really interesting, and I think it's something that more coaches should do moving forward. So stay tuned to hear that conversation right here on the Opening Drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Kevin. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sports shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
From the Sandia foothills to the banks of the Rio Grande, generations of families remain. For 5 generations, Gallus Chevrolet has handed down values written in stone, leading the way under sun-filled skies, past the vintage glow of Route 66. Built by generations past, built for generations to come. This is New Mexico. This is Gallus.
High school sports are back. You can watch every ProView Network broadcast online on the NFHS network. Every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProViewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here, and I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay. We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field. 505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space, and you can be part of it.
You make my heart better. Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros
Welcome back to the opening drive here in studio with Jake Cascio, Bob Walpole producing, Adrian back at the ProView Studios running the TV side of things on Channel 26. Thank you guys for tuning into the opening drive. And I got a couple little side things that I saw that I thought were interesting, and I wanted to, bring them up on air. Aside from Dwight Howard being in the 3-point contest, aside from Patrick Mahomes saying that he's happy that he got the 1 seed because he promised his wife he'd have that bye week so he can be there for the birth of the baby.
Oh.
So I guess, I haven't had a child. I know Mr. Bob Walpole has been through that experience. I didn't know that the dates are that accurate. I didn't know that.
It's like within like a week range, I'm pretty sure.
So does the doctor, weird conversation, does he do they control when it happens, or are they just waiting for it to time up on the bye week of the AFC champion?
I mean, you could plan ahead for sure. Patrick Mahomes is, a smart guy, and he understands what's coming up to be for him. And I was looking at it, and if they rest their starters week 18 and then they have the bye, it would be 25 days without a football game for the Chiefs, for the starters.
And who else needs it more? And they played it was 3 games in 10 days. So they've played 3 games in 10 days. That's a lot. Some people don't even like going to the gym 3 times in 10 days. So I could only imagine. And then with a high ankle sprain, he's going to get that time to come back healthy for the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, it's kind of scary. I didn't know he was having a kid until right now. This is breaking news for me, which, as a Buffalo Bills fan, that kind of scares me because dad strength is real. It's very, very real.
And so is Black Magic, and the Chiefs got both. Right now, it looks like they're coming up.
And they got deep pockets with the refs. So
yeah, they definitely got deep pockets. So, as you brought up the Bills, we might as well go there with it. Has Lamar done his due diligence when it comes to entering back into the MVP race? Do you think?
I don't think he was ever out of it, honestly. Okay. I think Lamar was a more serious MVP candidate than Saquon Barkley has been. In my personal opinion, it goes Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon, with how things stand right now. I mean, and not to say that the MVP is a quarterback award, but it is.
Yeah.
And it has been for a long time. And that's just kind of the narrative. And, it's true. Depending on how good your quarterback is playing determines your success of your team. And that makes you the most valuable player for your team in the league. And Lamar's having a great season. He's having a better season than he had last year.
Yeah, I think with Lamar, we're getting to that dangerous zone where he's starting. Not only does he have 2 MVPs, but we're starting to expect him to do this. It feels like we've seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's starting to get that LeBron treatment where LeBron had won so many MVPs, and it's like, all right, we got to give it to somebody else.
Yeah, well, yeah, without a doubt, and I think the MVP is a narrative award, and I think that Lamar has the better narrative at the end of the season with the teams that he's going to be playing against, embarrass the Texans on Christmas Day, and the narrative is more set in tone for Lamar. Beat the Steelers, better teams. Josh Allen ends the year, the last 3 games, Patriots, Jets, Patriots. So if he explodes or goes off in those games, it's not really saying as much compared to Lamar doing that with these other teams with these expectations. Now, mind you, the Texans have been beat up, and their defense is where it's at right now, and their offense is a shell of what it was supposed to be. So I think that's the conversation that needs to be included with it all. But I think ultimately the wins and losses do add up, and those matter too in the MVP. Josh Allen has 2 less losses than Lamar. Josh Allen is playing his most efficient football. If Josh Allen didn't throw as many interceptions as he did last year, he would have been the MVP, I believe.
Yeah.
But he's playing more efficient football this season, and his turnover rate is down. And with what he has at his disposal in his arsenal, he had no expectations at the beginning of the year, and he has succeeded above and beyond what the media and everybody in the league was saying. He was considered the most overrated quarterback in the offseason.
He was.
And he's showing everybody like, hey, no, I'm here to play.
Yeah, I think the thing with Josh Allen, and I think it sounds crazy to assume that he's most improved in anything, but his ability, just with his play style, like his ability to cut out the interceptions, like I don't think it can be spoken on enough. Like just imagine, say Brett Favre. Imagine if Brett Favre stopped throwing interceptions. Like how much higher on most people's lists he would be. And Josh Allen, his interceptions, they came in bunches. Like through the middle part of the season, he went a long time through none.
Yeah.
And then he went a few games, he threw some, but then he stopped throwing them. I think he had one last game. But like you said, also the wins and losses, you look at Lamar and in the individual stats and also, like you said, he was never out of it. A lot of people, I don't think they had him out of it, but it became like a Josh Allen Saquon thing.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, these guys are taking the lead.
And he's closed the gap.
And because he's closed the gap, I think in the public eye, it'd be easy to want to give him that award. But I feel that when the rubber really hits the road, and I think they have to sit down and look, I think Josh Allen, even though his stats may not be, totaling the same as Lamar's, they're
pretty close.
They're close.
Yeah.
And he beat the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. And the Lions.
And the Lions.
And the resume, I think, is a little bit stronger on paper. I think the only advantage Lamar might have is the division. The AFC East compared to the AFC North are 2 different animals.
And not only did Josh Allen beat the Chiefs and beat the Lions, he went off for those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had, I don't want to say his best game, but that Lions game was insane. And then his game versus the Chiefs also, even if you're somebody who wasn't just watching the game and you just looked at the screen, it seems like every time I look at the screen during a Bills game, I'm seeing some ridiculous Josh Allen highlight.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him do something, whether it's manhandling defenders, whether it's his arm. And the guy had a broken left hand most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying he never missed a game.
No, Josh Allen is tough as nails. And, for the size that he is and the ability to endure is insane. He's been struggling with UCL problems his entire career.
Really?
Yeah. And so he banged up his UCL against the Patriots. He took a pretty hard hit and had like elbow numbness throughout his whole hand. And he was on the sideline shaking it off, and it's on his passing arm,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so he's had this injury for a long time. Last season, he had a sprained UCL like halfway through the season because Quinnen Williams on the Jets hit it back, and he played throughout the whole season, didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, and those are, I don't know how much I don't even really know the criteria as far as picking an MVP and exactly what people, what they look at. But Josh Allen, I think he's got the resume to do it. And if he wins MVP and wins a Super Bowl, now how many? He's got one for sure. Does he have two, or is it one?
MVPs?
Yeah.
He doesn't have a single one.
What?
Yeah, Josh Allen has never won an MVP. He's been in the conversation, but no, he has not won an MVP yet.
Wow. I thought the Madden cover year he won the MVP.
Mm-mm. Yeah, he placed second or third that season.
But he's up there every single year.
Yeah, because Mahomes won that year.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was the year after the 13 seconds game against the Chiefs. That was the DeMar Hamlin year. It's
a good way to refer to that.
Yeah, the Bengals got us in the playoffs that year in Buffalo in a snow game, and then he got the Madden cover, in the offseason.
Yeah, kudos to Josh Allen for that. And then once again, right now, I think it goes. The first place is between Saquon and Josh.
Okay.
For me. And the reason I put Saquon at first or second is because I think if you look at the Eagles without Saquon, of course you could apply this to the Bills, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But I think, as crazy as it sounds, I feel like if you took Saquon off the Eagles and you took Lamar, I'm going to sound crazy here, but you take Lamar off the Ravens, I think the Ravens are still a more dangerous team. I think you got Derrick Henry. But without Saquon, the Eagles, we saw them without Saquon. They'll win a lot of games, but they're close games. Last year, they barely won majority of their 11 games, and they're 11-1. And then when stuff caught up to them, when their mistakes caught up to them, they started losing. But this year, whenever it seems like they could possibly lose, Saquon just goes for a 70-yard touchdown run, and the game's just been put out of hand at that point.
Yeah, I think with the Ravens, though, what makes that team so dangerous right now is the options and the threats of the run, because it could be, a quick little RPO or, an option and hand it off to Derrick Henry real quick, or Lamar just takes it and runs.
Yeah.
So you gotta play, pretty much you gotta play two spies.
Yeah. And that's tough on a defense. And you got one guy's lightning fast, the other guy's lightning fast and huge. So you never know. And again, Lamar Jackson hit his top speed of his career running for 21.25 miles per hour on that 48-yard touchdown run. He said he was jogging. So Lamar is a freak athlete. And when we get back, we're going to talk some college football a little bit. We got a Deion Sanders story I want to hop into. And also we're going to cap off with what we think the issue is with the NBA and if there even is truly an issue and how it can be fixed. You're listening to The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Kevin. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. Our law firm was founded by my father, Thibaut J. Chavez, with one goal: to get New Mexicans the help they need. That's why we built a different kind of law firm. We focus on family values, dedicated service, and we make a real contribution by giving back to our communities. We can't change what happened to you or your loved ones, but we can help you get back on the road to recovery. We're by your side, and we're still as local as red and green.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All In Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
TurboThreads is a proud sponsor of ProView Networks.
Almost 30 years of experience means fast service, great prices, and a wide selection of apparel from t-shirts to performance sport shirts, even jackets and hats. They feature low minimums and no setup charges on most orders. TurboThreads is located at 1503 Golf Course Road in Rio Rancho, or find them on Facebook, online at turbothreads.com, or call 999-1234 for TurboThreads.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks. Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long.
On 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson, Bob Walpole producing. Got Adrian back at the ProView studio running the TV side of things. And also got Jay Cascio here in the studio with me. And we're talking some college football next. But first, we have a special caller who I am hearing is on the lines. Mr. Symbieta, how is your Christmas?
It was a working Christmas. It was a good Christmas. How was yours?
It was wonderful. I watched some good NBA basketball. It was the number one thing I did not think I would see is good NBA basketball anymore. But
fair enough. We had that on in the office. We had a little football on as we were running around, and yeah, it was good. It was good. I forgot. Did the commercial breaks get longer now that you're hosting the show, or that was I don't know. You're killing it. How you doing? You enjoying this?
Yes, I'm enjoying it. It's been a great opportunity. It's been a great week. I've been stirring up the bowl with the listeners. They don't like my idea that the NBA was falling off. And then all of a sudden yesterday, they just had 5 amazing games on. So I got on here today and you know what? I was wrong. I admit it. I was wrong. I apologize for bashing the NBA.
Well, I mean, look, I think the NBA is a taste that many people have waited. It literally, right? Christmas Day is when it starts for a lot of people. It just did. That was the whole point of the in-season tournament. So yesterday's their day. Did you watch more NFL or NBA yesterday?
So I watched some NFL, but I watched the entirety of that Lakers game. and it didn't disappoint at all. And I heard that a lot of people were complaining about the Netflix stream, but I thought, well, you guys must need to get Starlink because my Netflix is running fine.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're working all day, and so I caught glimpses of everything, little at the hotel, little at the office, little at the airport. Everybody was huddled around the end of that Laker game when Steph hit that shot. We were up in a hospitality suite at the TCU hospitality suite. The place went nuts, and then Austin Reeves hits that shot at the end, and again, just a big loud. So that was on, and that resonated at the end of that game. I'm not going to pretend I watched a bunch of NBA yesterday. I can't tell you that.
Yeah, and also Saturday, December 28th, you got the Louisiana Raging Cajuns versus the TCU Horned Frogs right around the corner. I know it's been a long process. How has that all been? I know you've been like off but working, maybe more than you would have been working before.
Yeah. Way more working. Yeah, no, way more. I just left the airport, and you know how we wake up every day and we see the mountains, and just take it for granted where you live.
Yes.
So another plane for Louisiana came in, so I just went out we had the mariachi bands out yesterday and greeted, the teams, and both teams came in yesterday, and really? and we had big welcome event last night. But there was another plane with the president, the provost, the band came in for Louisiana, and I just rolled out of the airport, and they're all taking pictures of with the mountains. Like they've never seen the mountains before. And we take it for granted. Like every day we look up and I don't know, man, look out your window. It is a gorgeous New Mexico day. And it like all these people from Louisiana, many who have never, ever been in this part of the world, it just made me realize where we live and how cool it is. Like literally, I'm in the car, I'm pulling up to the office right now, but just left the airport and watching these people. I got a picture of all of them lined up with the mountains in the background, just taking pictures. And it's kind of cool. When I started this bowl game 19 years ago, I did there were a lot of things that I wanted it to become. And one of them was exactly that, getting to experience different things. And I've got to, a lot of the TCU people that I talked to last night had never been to New Mexico. And it's so cool. And now to get, a Big 12 team that, for the first time, to have an 8-4 Big 12 team, and then, a team that played for a Sun Belt championship experiences. I'm so super stoked, you guys, about what we've got going this weekend. And I hope people come out and really enjoy and understand what we got going.
I hope they do too. And that's awesome. That's the main thing. And I will say, when I go home to Illinois and then I come back here and I see the mountains, and I think to myself, like, yeah, this is a lot better than just a flat landscape in Illinois. Yeah. And I remember when you had, I think it was the TCU coach, he said, like, most of my players have never been there. Or was that the Raging Cajuns coach?
Yeah, no, it was Michael Desormeaux. And he said, almost all of them have never been here. But I was talking to the TCU room last night to all the players, and how many of you ever been here? And probably, 4/5 of them had never been to New Mexico. Wow. So it's really just kind of cool to experience something in it. And, you'll love this. So we have a cookie made, Snuggle Cups cookie made, a Isleta New Mexico Bowl cookie. Oh. And it is a caramel chocolate chip cookie with green chili. And they were afraid of it. Like they were afraid of eating it. And New Mexico Beef Council is one of our partners. And so they have some green chili beef jerky. And watching these guys be afraid of the beef jerky, and the Louisiana kids, I'm like, come on, man. Yeah. You guys all are so proud of the spice in your food. Like, try a different spice. It was, and some of them hated it. Some of them loved it, but it was so fun watching them just eat and the cookie has just got a little hint of green chili.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Oh, wow. I couldn't imagine. A green chili cookie. When I heard it on the commercial,
I'll bring you one.
Okay, I would love that, and I'd love to try a green chili cookie. I couldn't imagine the sweet and the spicy. I know there's sweet and spicy flavors, but it's a whole different ballpark.
It's good, man. It's not overwhelming. It's just a little bit of heat to it. It's un poquito Nuevo Mexico in the cookie. It's really good. So, no, I just want to check in, man, and I'll let you go. But I hope people come out and enjoy it, man. I think what we got is something special. It's going to be 55 and sunny, and
nice.
Appreciate all that you've been doing and your support. And thanks for keeping the show going. I'll catch up with you. I'll try to call in tomorrow, and if not next week. But I hope you had a Merry Christmas, man. And just wanted to touch base.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jeff, so much for calling in. I really appreciate the call, and it always is nice to hear from the big dog of the show when he calls in, lets me know that he's listening and appreciates it all. It's Leda New Mexico Bowl, Saturday, December 28th, 12:15, right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Got the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns versus the TCU Horned Frogs.
I'm very excited for this New Mexico Bowl. I think it's going to be a great matchup. You know, this is huge for the New Mexico Bowl, having a Big 12 team come in and a conference championship appearance. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah, and TCU was in the Natty not too long ago. How about that? And Albuquerque getting on the map, and also with the mountains. I live off of, I live by Green Jeans and right off Carlisle, and I have a balcony, and it's facing the Sandias. And there's been some days, especially in like spring, summer, where I was just minding my business, and I looked outside my balcony and just saw the most clear, large rainbow I may have ever seen in my life, just going over the entire sky of Albuquerque.
Well, us both being like transplants, every now and then, I've been here like 10 years. So every now and then I always have a moment to myself where I look at the mountains or I look at the sunset out here. And I'm like, wow, I have to take it in for a moment because, it's so different, I'm sure from Illinois and I'm sure, from upstate New York for me, it's way different out here. And, the culture shock coming out here is very different, Same with all the TCU guys with green chili. I was scared of green chili when I first came out here, and now I can't go like a single meal now without putting green chili on anything.
But can you eat a cookie without it? How do you feel about the
Oh yeah, I would eat that in a heartbeat. That sounds awesome. A little sweet and spice. Come on.
Have you eaten one before? Green chili cookie?
Like I've had like green chili and sweet things
like
before.
Ice cream or anything?
I've never had an ice cream, no.
Okay.
But
it wouldn't shock me if it was in Albertsons.
Yeah, you could probably find it in everything out here.
Absolutely crazy. Green chili cookies. Never would have expected that. Well, we got to take a quick break. And coming up after the break, we're going to talk some Deion Prime Sanders and cap it off with a little bit more NBA talk right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
The Yeller Sub, located on 7200 Montgomery Boulevard, serves breakfast all day long along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Bluebell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of ProView Networks.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. For over 20 years, Evergard Roofing and Solar has been committed to customer service. Locally owned and operated, Evergard offers both commercial and residential roofing and solar services. For more info, please call 505-821-9543. Evergard Roofing and Solar are proud supporters of ProView Sports Network and New Mexico Youth Athletics.
I might not be in the cage as much anymore. Just like riding a bicycle, I can pick up the fight from where I left off. I'm not some slick-haired outsider posing with borrowed gloves. I grew up here. New Mexico is in my blood. I'm a New Mexican fighting for other New Mexicans. I'm Adam Oki. I'll be your champion in the courtroom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at newmexicobowl.com.
Hi, my name is Ruben, and I'm with the New Mexico Educational Assistance Foundation. We are proud sponsors of high school and college sports. Either college or trade, we can help you find the funding you need. Go to nmfafsa.org. That's nmfafsa.org.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. The day he gave his infamous speech.
Welcome back to the opening drive. I'm Zay Johnson in the studio with Jay Cascio, Bob Walpole producing, and Adrian back at the ProView Studios, getting things going on the TV side. And, you know, this new story coming out of Colorado, very, very positive. As easy as it is, or as easy as it has been to hate on Deion Sanders, you can't hate on this. And I have never been a Deion Sanders hater. I've never been a Colorado Buffalo hater. But how about this, Jake? Deion Sanders has announced Colorado will provide disability insurance for its player in the Alamo Bowl. He says, we have a multitude of players that are draftable. We want to make sure that if something were to happen, they would cover it. Now, it comes at a time when the transfer portal is a big topic.
Oh, yeah.
You had Marshall University drop out of their bowl game because too many people hit the portal. And Deion may have not only set a blueprint standard for player coaches and just getting a train moving off aura and your culture and just making things fun with the chains, Shador, the whole new thing they brought to Colorado. But now, hopefully, this could be something to combat the transfer portal issues. The schools or maybe the fans of teams that were worried about players not playing because of injuries and things like that. Deion, they're going to have insurance.
He's disrupting everything in the NCAA right now. And in this current era of college football, he's the perfect candidate for understanding how this works.
Yeah.
Who had as many endorsement deals back in the day as an athlete, during his era? He was prime.
Yeah,
it was prime time. Deion is a mover and a disruptor. He has his own commercials. He's making his own deals. And it's the perfect thing that college football teams need right now in this new era.
Yeah.
He didn't have a single opt-out for the Alamo Bowl. Not
Crazy.
a single opt-out. And that's not the trend nowadays, And, he's really setting the precedent of like, okay, I understand the transfer portal is here to stay, and if you want to transfer, go ahead and transfer. Deion had the most transfers in a class last season, and so he understands the game, that these young men are going to take the opportunity to get their money. And, I don't believe every player is insured. I think it's really just like kind of like the top names,
That's what I was
Travis
thinking.
is going to play in it. Shedeur is going to play in it, and they have the chance of both being top 5 picks, So if something hypothetically were to happen in that situation and, they fall in the draft because of an injury, they're not going to lose out as much, and I think that's a big thing for these big schools that get all this media attention that, may not be in the playoff, like in Alabama. If they had that insurance policy going on, I'm sure a lot less guys would be opting out.
Yeah, and it makes me, and I wonder exactly how this works because I'm currently looking it up. So it's like, are they going to maybe take like what that player could have made if they were drafted top 5 and give them that much off a signing bonus? Is it going to be, I doubt it's like injury insurance, like, oh, okay, your surgery's paid for, because of course that's the case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like how it's going to work. I think it's on an individual player basis. I don't think it's just like a one policy fits all for everybody. And I'm sure there's contingencies, and they had to sign some paperwork to be like, okay, in this scenario, for Travis Hunter and Shedeur, you guys are both top 5 eligible picks. I don't think the money is necessarily going to match what they would be making, in a top 5 pick scenario, but at least it would be able to help compensate if they do fall in the draft, because being a top 5 pick versus being a bottom first round pick, that's a difference of millions.
Yeah, and you're right on the right track with that, because here it says Colorado secured what it said was record insurance coverage for Shedeur and Travis Hunter. Colorado did not disclose the amount of insurance coverage each received, citing privacy laws. And then Deion says, we happen to have 2 players. He says 2. We happen to have 2 players that are probably going to be the first 2 picks of the draft. I disagree with that one. Said Sanders Monday. We all know who those 2 are, and they have received, I think, the highest number of coverage that has ever been covered in college football. So kudos to Travis and Shedeur, and they deserve it.
Yeah, and Deion's doing great things.
Yeah, and they've been with each other the whole time. But also doing great things is me and Jake here in the opening drive, and Bob Walpoler in the production studio. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Adrian, back at the studio producing things from the TV side. I'm Zay Johnson, and we got one more tomorrow. I'll be back one more time before JJ's back. Stay tuned. Be back tomorrow.
It's a real-life nightmare. Business is being...
That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
New Mexico celebrates the holiday season with the 19th Isleta New Mexico Bowl. Our state's premier annual sports event is Saturday, December 28th at University Stadium. College football's postseason with New Mexico flavor. All your info is at NewMexicoBowl.com.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
I'm David C. Chavez, personal injury attorney. For over 4 decades, our law firm has remained steadfast in our commitment to serving the remarkable people of New Mexico that have been injured through no fault of their own. I'm a New Mexican fighting for New Mexicans. I received my bachelor's degree at NMSU and earned my law degree at UNM. I can proudly say I'm both an Aggie and a Lobo. Call now and I will meet with you. 40 years strong, and we're still as local as red and green.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros